Hello, white people. Washington governor declares state of emergency over virus. I'm in the state of Washington. This is dated February 29th, 2020. The governor of Washington state declared a state of emergency Saturday after a man died there of COVID-19, the first such reported death in the United States. More than 50 people in a nursing facility are sick and being tested for the virus. Governor Jay Inslee directed state agencies to use all resources necessary to prepare for and respond to the coronavirus outbreak. The declaration also allows the use of the Washington National Guard if necessary. What? The Washington National Guard for the coronavirus? Are you kidding me? That doesn't make any sense. We will continue to work toward a day where no one dies from this virus, the governor vowed. We've had Ebola, Zika, swine flu, the bird flu, measles, mumps, rubella. What in the world are they talking about? Health officials in California, Oregon, and Washington state are worried about the novel coronavirus spreading through West Coast communities because people are being infected by unknown means. They had not visited an area where there was an outbreak nor apparently been in contact with anyone who had. The man who died was in his 50s, had underlying health conditions, and no history of travel or contact with a known COVID-19 case. Health officials in Washington state said at a news conference. A spokesperson for Evergreen Health Medical Center, Case Dahl, said the person died in the facility in a Seattle suburb of Kirkland. The health officials reported 2 cases of COVID-19 virus connected to a long-term care facility in the same suburb, Life Care Center of Kirkland. One is a life care worker, a woman in her 40s who is in satisfactory condition at a hospital, and the other is a woman in her 70s and a resident at Life Care who is hospitalized in serious condition. Neither have traveled out of the country. In addition, over 50 individuals associated with Life Care are reportedly ill with respiratory symptoms or hospitalized with pneumonia or other respiratory conditions of unknown cause and are being tested for COVID-19. Seattle and King County officials said additional positive cases are expected. Amy Reynolds of the Washington State Health Department said in a brief telephone interview, "We are dealing with an emergency evolving situation." A growing number of cases in California, Washington State, and Oregon are confounding authorities because the infected people hadn't recently traveled overseas or had any known close contact with a traveler or an infected person. The U.S. has about 60 confirmed cases. Worldwide, the number of people sickened by the virus hovered Friday around 83,000, and there were more than 2,800 deaths, most of them in China. Most infections result in mild symptoms, including coughing and fever, though some can become more serious and lead to pneumonia. Older people, especially those with chronic illness such as heart or lung disease, are especially vulnerable. Health officials think it spreads mainly from droplets when an infected person coughs or sneezes, similar to how the flu spreads. The number of coronavirus cases in the United States is considered small, but convinced that the number of cases will grow, health agencies are ramping up efforts to identify those who might be sick. All right, let's back up a tad bit here. So we do not know how it's spread. They think it's spread through droplets when an infected person coughs or sneezes, but the people in the nursing home and the people they just spoke of in this article didn't have any contact with anybody who had the coronavirus, and now they had the coronavirus and one person died. All right, totally sketchy. The California Department of Public Health said Friday that the state will receive enough kits from the CDC to test up to 1,200 people a day for the COVID-19 virus, a day after Governor Gavin Newsom complained to federal health officials that the state had already exhausted its initial 200 test kits. Oregon was able to more quickly identify a case, an employee of an elementary school near Portland, because it was able to test a sample locally. Earlier, U.S. cases including 3 people who were evacuated from the central China city of Wuhan, epicenter of the outbreak, 14 people who returned from China or their spouses, and 42 American passengers on the Diamond Princess cruise ship who were flown to U.S. military bases in California and Texas for quarantining. The U.S. government looked at sending dozens of Californians, several of whom tested positive for the virus, who had been aboard the cruise ship to a state-owned facility in Costa Mesa, California. Local officials objected, saying they weren't included in the planning and wanting to know what safeguards would be in place to prevent the spread of the virus. Okay, what safeguards are going to be in place if people unassociated with each other are coming down with this virus? What mode of transmission do you guys think, what is possible? How are these people getting this virus? The U.S. government said it didn't need to use the facility after all. At UC Davis Medical Center in California, at least 124 registered nurses and other healthcare workers were sent home for self-quarantine after a Solano County woman with the virus was admitted. National Nurses United, a nationwide union representing registered nurses, said Friday. The case highlights the vulnerability of the nation's hospitals to this virus, the union said. Earlier Friday, Oregon confirmed its first coronavirus case, a person who works in an elementary school in the Portland area. The Lake Oswego School District sent a robocall to parents saying that Forest Hills Elementary will be closed until Wednesday so it can be deep cleaned by maintenance workers. I hope when they say disinfect, they don't mean spray Lysol and stuff, because in order to get rid of germs on surfaces, you have to know that germs stick to oil on surfaces. All surfaces have oil, whether we like it or not. So the germs stick to the oil, you put soap on the surface, and then you use friction because the germs in the oil will not automatically stick to the soap. You have to have friction to loosen the oil with the germs in it, and the friction will remove or release the oil and the germs from the surface, and then it will stick to the soap, and then you rinse and it washes away all the germs that are stuck to the oil. And if you want to get rid of airborne particulates like droplets, you have to ventilate the space. You have to bring in air to blow out the droplets, and eventually the droplets will drop to the ground, but you have to have a well aerated space. And inside of buildings where the air is circulated, the droplets will just go in circles around the room. It won't leave, and you won't be diluting that. Does that make sense? Washington state health officials announced 2 other new coronavirus cases Friday night, including a high school student who attends Jackson High School in Everett, said Dr. Chris Spitters. The doctor's last name is Spitters. That doesn't scream PSYOP to anybody, does it? Of the Snohomish County Health District. The other case in Washington was a woman in King County in her 50s who had recently traveled to South Korea, authorities said. Neither patient was seriously ill. The COVID-19 case of known origin marks an escalation of the worldwide outbreak in the U.S. because it means the virus could spread beyond the reach of preventative measures like quarantines. Federal officials think the coronavirus is spread only through close contact, being within 6 feet of somebody for what they're calling a prolonged period of time, said Dr. James Watt, interim state epidemiologist at the California Department of Health. Whenever there is something sketchy, always follow the money. I highly suspect that Governor Inslee declared a state of emergency to get money from the federal government because the federal government is cutting him off for being a sanctuary state. Now, correlation is not causation, but I have put 2 pictures side by side. The one on the left are the coronavirus cases, and the one on the right are sanctuary cities. Do you see any patterns emerging here? And if you're of the mind that you should be concerned about the coronavirus, I'm going to tell you that you should not. All right, so first of all, a lot of these tests are testing false positive. How would they even know if it's testing false positive? It just says that they haven't done their due diligence to make this test reliable. All right, so these tests are not reliable. Second of all, this alleged virus can infect you and through droplets, and you will have no symptoms. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. There's nothing out there that will get into your lungs, infect you, and not have any symptoms. I highly suspect that this is a cover for the economic slowdown. We are going into a Great Depression. All right, white people, that's the damage for now. If you'd like to support this channel, the links are in the description. Thank you for listening. I look forward to your thoughts below.